look at the whole thing as being a family enterprise. If you think it's a family business,
Go and try it.
I don't know. When I hear these things, like at times, it really annoys me. If you have that kind of a mindset, go and try. Like,
If it's easy to
you
start
have the same
family
24
business,
hours that TD Jakes has. You might even be eating better meals than him. You might have a better scheduling system than himself. But what have you been able to do with the years and the time that God has given to you?
Yesterday, I was just scrolling through my phone and I was finding it hard to sleep.
Yesterday night.
Yes. Okay. You had slept like for hours.
Wow.
But I was awake. And while I was just scrolling through my phone, I saw TD Jakes.
Oh, wow.
I saw his,
Bishop.
Bishop TD Jakes. I saw...
Say hi, I said Bishop, as if I know him personally.
I saw where he had like the handover ceremony for his daughter. And I just took my time to watch it. And by the time I was done, I was just crying. I just saw the beauty of family and the beauty of seeing what God has done.
Yeah.
And I just saw how he was so emotional. I'm sure that if he had the strength, he will not even hand over. He will continue till but he had to do it because he finished. He was already done. He walked to the other end. He said he was just at a point, he was crying. Service had ended. People had gone. He was still there. By the time he now wanted to leave, the church was almost empty. He now started kissing and he was in tears. And I was just like, after I finished watching that thing, I just came and hugged you because I was like, to see like when someone builds something and then builds like their child and then just get to that. And there was something that he kept saying. There was a point where he said, please be kind to my children. Like he was telling the congregation, please be kind to them. And he turned to them and he said, the crown is heavy. Wow. That the crown is heavy. Wow. And even when the daughter was just talking about the level of sacrifice and the pain and everything that has gone through and how they've given even like their lives for this stuff. And I was like, it's as if being a pastor is even harder than being like a CEO in the corporate world. And it's as if managing people in church can even be more difficult than managing people in the business.
More dangerous.
Like, than even managing people in the business place.
Yeah.
But like, it was a beautiful thing and just like, it was a mixed feeling. And I remember that she said something like that, that there is this joy and there is this fear that when the woman at the well met Jesus as a Samaritan woman and Jesus spoke to her and he asked her to go and call people. She ran with the fear, but she also ran with the joy that come and see the man who knew everything about me. And she was like, yes, that looking into the future can come with fear sometimes. Like, am I really capable of doing this thing? Yeah. But there's also the joy that you're going to do the Lord's work and everything. Yeah. And I know that getting married to you, before getting married to you, I was listening to TD Jakes, Bishop TD Jakes.
Bishop.
But by the time I got married to you, you were really engrossed in him. So just what do you have to say about everything, about the legacy and all?
Well, what I'll say about Bishop is, there's something that TD Jakes himself said, and many years ago I listened to that message. He said that the work that God has given to you, He has given you so much work to do, but He has given you little time. Mm-hmm. So what that just simply means is that even if TD Jakes were 200 years old,
it will not still be enough. The time will not be enough.
It will never be enough. So it just goes to say that the time that you have, that we have, we need to maximize time with God. Because God has given us a lot of ideas. Sometimes I look at the way I turn out ideas, and sometimes you cannot really pick all of those ideas into implementation because you have little time.
Yeah.
You can't do everything that God has placed in your heart to do. So I'm really excited that, Bishop has been able to model succession planning in a way that is really beautiful, in a way that is exciting. Like Bishop Sweat, like his energy, his life's work, he can now sit back, and that's what God does. God has put his work in us, and sometimes, or most of the time, he sits back to watch us carry out that assignment. So that's the joy that I feel that TD Jakes is going to be feeling for the rest of his years. His ability to watch back, to be on the backside of everything that is going on, to say, wow, my daughter took this step, her husband took this step, they are moving in this direction. And once in a while, he can say, no, this step, don't go the other route, because of his own years of experience. And I trust God that, that ministry is going to keep waxing strong by the grace of God. There are those who are the naysayers out there as well. Those who look at the whole thing as being a family enterprise. If you think it's a family business,
Go and try it.
I don't know. When I hear these things, like at times, it really annoys me. If you have that kind of a mindset, go and try. Like,
If it's easy to
you have
start
the same
family
24
business,
hours that TD Jakes has. You might even be eating better meals than him. You might have a better scheduling system than himself. But what have you been able to do with the years and the time that God has given to you that will now give you the temerity and the audacity to question another person's story? You can have your own and start your own, because you go online and on all those YouTube, a lot of all these naysayers, rumor mongers, they are picking up things that might not necessarily exist to kind of create a story out of another man's flaws or another man's errors, or as the case may be. You picking those stories, what are your own flaws? The fact that you have been hiding it up till now, nobody has found you out. And as you are posting those negative stories, may the Lord begin to puncture holes in your own defense system that you have put around yourself. Because really, somebody has spent his whole life, and it's easy for you to just come in a 2 minutes video to try to run down what somebody has used his entire life's work. And one of the very painful things really, about Christianity sometimes is when people sit when you have pastors on the altar, they give out so much grace to their members. A pastor is the only person that somebody will come and say, I slept with another man's wife. And he will say, don't worry, the Lord will help you. The Lord will see you through. Or maybe I stole money from our organization. Oh, you are not a thief. Even though you stole, you are not a thief. Even though you slept with another man's wife, you are not an adulterer. Even though you are such a terrible person, but it is not you. It's just a terrible spirit that is trying to. They give out so much grace. But what do people in the pews do? When a pastor falls short, people now become lions. They now become the gatekeepers of the justice system of God. God has not sent them. They want to prey on the men of God. They want to pray, but they don't understand what it takes for a man of God to be so gracious to people. And much of the time, they do not receive that grace in the same measure. So it's difficult carrying that cross. Some people just think like, after all, Jesus was meant to carry the cross, so God gave him the grace. Try and just carry a small wood on your back. Let them just nail it somehow. Not that they should nail your hand to it. They should just tie it and see how easy your movement is going to be. But we had the Son of Man, the Son of God, with all the majesty that he enjoys in heaven. He came down, died for our sins, was nailed to the cross for our own redemption. If God could do that for us, and we're supposed to be Christ-like, if you see that a certain man of God, maybe he has erred in a certain way, can you carry a cross for him? This is another level of thought process. I haven't thought this out before. Like, can I be gracious enough to carry the cross that would save somebody else from ridicule, from shame, from disgrace? Can I be gracious enough? If you are not willing to carry a cross for somebody that you feel that is a spiritual father or a spiritual leader, then you are not qualified to speak. That's my view. If you don't have the large heart enough to be able to say, okay, this person may have fallen at a certain point, you are not qualified to talk if you cannot carry as much love, because it takes a supernatural kind of love and that whole commitment and that doggedness to be able to stand for somebody who has been standing for a lot of people. So I really want to commend TD Jakes Ministries. I really thank God for sparing his life. Even after he had that whole heart attack scare in November last year, God has, even though he has lost some weight, I noticed in that video, but I still want to love up to that man. It's a whole lot. I remember sometimes in the past, when my life was almost falling apart at different times in my life, I would go back to messages when I was in the UK at the time, in Europe. I'll go back to TD Jakes' messages. I listen to them. I feel revamped. I feel refreshed. I feel worthy to even communicate to God, even out of that place of sin. And God, merciful as he is, he will come in through that sin. He will still pick you out of that mess and make a message out of it. So I just want to thank God. I love TD Jakes. I don't know what to say. And I just pray that same grace, even a higher grace, that God would supply that to his daughter and her husband to continue the work. It's God's work.
Yeah.
It's God's work, and it takes a lot. It takes a lot. Ask pastors. Some people think that their pastors are bankers. Your pastor is not your banker. If you are looking for loan, go to the bank. Go to the bank and hear what they have to say. Not that maybe a church gives you a little. There was a guy, that maybe a certain church, gave him some funds to maybe like start a business. And after a while, he was like, look at the only thing that they gave me. How do you say that kind of a thing? So people are too entitled. If you can run a church, please start one. If you are not called, you can just try it and see how easy it is.
I was just looking at it from I was just looking at him and how he was so emotional, handing over to, I think, Pastor Torrey Robert and his wife. I was just looking at it and I was imagining 50 years from now, 60 years from now.
For you?
Yeah.
Okay, by then you should be like 90 something, right?
Yes, or maybe, I don't know, 40, 50 years from now.
Awesome.
And I was imagining having built something that is really good, and getting to that point where you are passing on the baton
to the next generation.
And there is like a crowd of witnesses, and some are for you, some are not, some are happy.
In every crowd of witnesses, there must be many. So some people are hungry, some people are many. There must be many that are not for you.
Some are happy and some are not happy. And let's assume that you have so many people that are genuinely crying and they would miss you and something, and you're handing it over. I was just, for me, like watching that was just, I was just seeing like myself being at that age and just seeing like him acting like a baby as he was trying to hand it over, and the wife trying to calm him down and just calm him down, and then the daughter calming him down. And it was a really emotional thing, and I pray that God...
What he handed over was his essence. It's difficult to understand it. Imagine handing over your essence, that thing that makes you you. You have the humility enough to give it to the next generation and ask them to run with it. That's what TD Jakes did. Everything that made TD Jakes who he is, his essence, like the whole essence of his person, is what he has transitioned to somebody else.
I just
what greater
pray
love.
That I just pray that that God would help each and every one of us to build something that we'll be able to pass on. Because as some people are passing on assets, some are passing on liabilities.
May we not pass on liabilities.
Amen. And to now be in a place where you have built an asset, not just to a particular locality, but a global asset. And you are able to hand that over. And they were just talking about how like he has been an advisory to presidents. Been on the advisory boards, like to presidents, to different people, and having to live that kind of life. I'm just, though like at the end, like it's still God that does the final reward, like in heaven, but even on earth when you see. So I'm just praying that God would help every one of us to be able to build something that can last, and to build something that can touch and impact lives. So that by the time we're we are old, we can have something that is worthy to hand over to people and not just liabilities. Because some people they hand over liabilities. And I pray that at that time it would really be a good emotional thing.
Yeah. May we make Jesus proud.
Yeah.
May we make Jesus proud.
Yeah. Amen.
Yeah. I love you, TD Jakes. Not like TD Jakes knows me anyways, but I love him. Like I've been so impacted by his ministry
Yeah.
for the past 2 decades now, over 2 decades
Yeah.
of really loving up on somebody I've never seen. And just to add, like, there was a major decision I took in my life. I had heard a lot of word, like, but it took Bishop Jakes to be in Koza. I attended that event, and he talked about the man at the beautiful gate, right? And where he told,
Pick up your bed.
yeah, pick up your bed and walk. Like, it felt like I had never heard those words before. But when he talked about pick up your bed and walk, I now began to, what are the things in my life that are that proverbial bed, that represent that bed that need to pick up and walk? I identified one of them, one major one. I had to do away with that bed and I had to walk. And through that decision, as a result of TD Jakes' ministry, God has lifted me in leaps and bounds, and he's still lifting me by the grace of God. I just want to thank God for the ministry of TD Jakes. And I know a lot of people across the world. In fact, just to tell you how interesting, TD Jakes has been to some, like when I was in university then, because I listened to him a lot. When I think of all those student pastors and I listen to them, I say, no be TD Jakes be this. Like, people listen to TD Jakes on
his
Saturday.
Messages.
On Sunday, they will go and download a full message of TD Jakes.
Maybe we heard that white girl now that was now preaching like,
yeah.
Get ready. Oh my God.
So that's influence, man. I love that man, and may God continue to keep him in good health.
Bless his
This is not the
family
end. I
and
believe that
strengthen them.
There's still so much that TD Jakes, like he said, that once in a while they should allow him to preach, things like that. Yeah. So thank God. It's a good story.
Yeah.
Yeah.